This is Eagle Al, and today I will be talking about Fletcher Cox unhappy with Jalen Hurts. Also, we're going to talk about Chase Young because it might be time to move on from Hassan Reddick. And lastly, we're going to talk about AJ Brown still going at the Philly media, WIP to be specific. But let's get straight into it. All right, so let's get straight into the topics. Fletcher Cox was somewhat unhappy with Jalen Hurts' emotions on the sidelines at time and body language, and sometimes he just didn't show enough emotion. Remember when Craig Carlton came out there, jumped out the window, basically saying nothing? So Howard Easton just came in to clear it up, and this is what Howard Easton had to say.
Personality when they got to the Super Bowl, but when they're not playing well, you try to find reasons. So a few players have talked to Jalen Hurts about, hey, listen, you got to connect more. You got to be more emotional on the sidelines. You got to be more part of us. And a few players have done that. The one player that's probably more, I think the word demonstrative is probably too much of implying what's going on was Fletcher Cox. Fletcher's a stern guy, and he was not happy with his emotion, but so other players were the same way. And he talked to him a little bit.
Hold on, Howard. You said Fletcher was not happy with whose emotion?
Jalen Hurts' emotion on the sidelines, and
his lack of emotion,
and his personality, and his connection with his teammate.
You see, like Howard, he actually name dropped. You're like, yeah, Fletcher Cox, like was somewhat unhappy with Jalen Hurts' emotions on the sideline from time. Let me say this: it's okay to be critical of Jalen Hurts. It's okay. Were there times Jalen Hurts just looked out of it because the bad play calling? Because sometimes even the play on the field, yes, his body language sometimes said it all. Like when he would shake his head walking off the field, you just seen in his face from time to time. He was just disappointed. Remember, even in the Buffalo game, I believe when we went overtime, yeah, we won the game, but he was disappointed. That game was so ugly. Had to go there. And he was shaking his head on the sideline. Sometimes he looked mad at Brian Johnson. So, yeah, did Jalen Hurts have the best body language? Absolutely not last year. But again, is he to blame? Yes and no, because yes, because he is the leader, and no, because we know everything that was going on. So I could see both sides. I'm actually playing the 50, something I hate to do. But again, Fletcher Cox is the emotional guy. I won't be surprised if Lane Johnson or even Jason Kelsey called out Jalen Hurts behind the scenes from time to time. Maybe they wanted him to fake it a little more, or maybe they wanted him to rile up the team just a little more. But I will agree with Howard Easton when he said this. You can't be mad when we're losing, he's like that, but you can't be happy when he's like that and when we're winning. You gotta let him be him. You gotta let him be him. So I think they're just trying to find a guy to blame, in my opinion. And obviously Jalen Hurts make the big money. So, and he's the quarterback, so they're going to somewhat blame him. All right, so let's get into the next topic. Let's talk about AJ Brown. AJ Brown with a tweet and delete going at the WIP, basically saying you can call in, you can ask him any question you want because he's sick of the media. He's sick of the Philly media. Some of you guys call me the Philly media. Hey, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I look at myself as more of I collect data and report. I'm not a guy or a typical guy that goes in the locker room and talk to these guys and write stories. That's not me. I just give my opinion based on what's out there. But if you call that Philly media, cool. But it seems like AJ Brown, again, is upset with the media, how they painting the Eagles. And I actually like that the player's going at him. And then it's a superstar. So I actually like it. I'm not mad at it. It's the off season. It's not like this happening during the season. Talk your talk during the off season. I don't care. Get your junk off on WIP. Get your junk off on all these sports media guys. Even if it's me, get your junk off because I like when the players speak their mind, in my opinion. you know, sometimes people hate when the players got podcasts and stuff like that. But sometimes you get an insight of how they really feel because most of the times players are quiet. Like you don't hear what Jalen Hurts really think until you get a sit down interview, and then he probably don't really give you authentic thoughts there. But a guy like Jason Kelsey on his podcast, uh, Slay sometimes can do a little too much. But I like when these guys give their opinions. I'm probably the only guy that stand on that hill. Like even the ops, they hate Micah Parsons, but hey, he just giving his opinion. I don't mind when these players give their opinion. So I like that AJ Brown is coming out, about to speak to these guys. Hopefully it's true. Hopefully he calls in because they ratings gonna go through the roof. They ratings gonna go through the roof for one particular reason is that AJ Brown's calling in. And then I want them to keep the same energy. I want them to keep the same energy. All right, so I forgot to mention this in the beginning, but the Eagles have resigned Albert O. You know I can't say his last name, man. We resigned Albert O. I like this move a lot. I think this guy was talent, wasn't used. I think he's a really good receiver and tight end. I believe Howie Roseman knows that. That's why Howie Roseman signed him to like a future deal. A guy like Albert O, you gotta lock up. Remember, like the Austin Watkins kid we got from Cleveland, dudes like that you gotta lock up. Guys that really, really had potential. Even the running back we got from San Francisco, gotta lock them up. Again, really haven't shown anything just yet, but you know their potential is through the roof. Alberto was balling in Denver. He just couldn't get a foot in there. You don't think he'll be able to get a foot in Philadelphia because all we got is Dallas Goddard. We need a number two. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of people not putting this in a mock draft. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a tight end really early. I mean, I'm talking second, third round early because let's be honest, Dallas Goddard's getting older. People call him injury prone. I call those injuries freak accidents. It's not like he's sliding and rolling his ankle. These are dudes that hitting him dirty. I mean, Dallas, he got hit dirty against. Washington, he got hit dirty against. Pulling on his arm, putting all the weight on your forearm. Yeah, your forearm is going to break. I don't care who you are. That just is what it is. I call them freak accidents. People call them injury prone. But I'm looking at it now more of he's just getting up there in age, and you got to be ready for the successor. We had Brent Sellett, we brought Zach Ertz along. Had Zach Ertz, we brought Dallas Goddard along. So now you got to get ready for that next guy to come along, whoever that is. Whoever that is. So can Albert O be that guy? Maybe. Or maybe we just get a guy early out the draft. Never know. All right, so lastly, let's talk about Chase Young just a little bit. You know, Chase Young is an interesting candidate out there. His contract is up. I doubt the 49ers going to let him walk, but I wouldn't be surprised. Talking about a dude that had, what, 7.5 sacks. Believe about 70 some pressures. I could be way off. I'm doing this off the top of my head, what I remember reading. But, yeah, again, Chase Young is an interesting candidate to replace Hassan Reddick because Hassan Reddick is 29, Chase Young is 24. We know Chase Young got a lot of potential. What, second, third pick out the draft. Injuries. Some people in Washington believe he was lazy, but to me, he showed he's not with the 49ers. But he did have moments. It was like, yo, you look lazy, but then you had moments like, yo, you look explosive. I would like Chase Young here. You know, Chase Young, he does fit the mold of a Philadelphia Eagles defensive lineman, but let me say this. I'm gonna keep it real. If Hassan Reddick doesn't find the money he want, keep him. Keep him. Forget about all the other superstars you got to get. But if you can't, you can mold Chase Young to be somebody. And not only that, you can probably pay him less than what Hassan Reddick want, and he probably fit the Vic Fangio scheme better. That's the scary thing about Hassan Reddick. What if we do pay him? What if we do? What if we extend him, but Vic Fangio got him dropping in coverage because that's what Vic Fangio do. Hassan Reddick is a 4-3, go get the quarterback. That's what he is. And I'm afraid that the Eagles might cave in and pay him. Or maybe not. Maybe we do find a trade partner. I don't know. But I'm afraid again, Hassan Reddick just don't fit the Vic Fangio scheme. So it will be interesting what the Eagles do with Hassan Reddick. It'd be interesting what Hassan Reddick want to do. Because what if he can't find the money out there? What if he be like, you know what? Let me sign here. But he should talk to Vic Fangio like, look, I ain't that type of dude that like to drop in coverage a lot. Got to let me go get the quarterback. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do about that situation. But, again, if we can't do the Hassan Reddick thing, you got to go after Chase Young. You have to. But, hey, man, what do you think and how do you feel about the news today? A.J. Brown, Fletcher Cox, Chase Young, Hassan Reddick, Albert O. A lot of news, but this is Eagle Al.